right. Welcome back to Coffee for Closers. Today is a very, very special episode. We're starting off the federal sales process right here at Megastar's home office in the studio. I'm joined with Mr. Rick Kallmeyer. Welcome to the show, Rick. Senior Advisor Development Specialist here at Megastar, and one that has been talking with advisors each and every single day all about their process within the Fed space. Yes, so you have specialized talking a great deal with folks that have just come into the Megastar fold, how to get going with these federal leads, these federal appointments in the federal appointment program, I should say. Just getting them familiarized with the process. They're coming fresh off of typically getting an FRC designation. I'd say a good 80% of the advisors that come in with no real working knowledge of federal employee benefits other than the occasional federal employee they may have ran into in their career, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So no specialty.
Yeah.
So you're sitting down with folks and kind of laying the framework, getting them prepped to go in and gearing up for success, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously felt like Rick would be a fantastic person to have on the show today to kind of talk through the foundation. So what we're doing today is we're laying the foundation of the process of the federal sales system. Not going into the why and the how, like Rick, you were mentioning before we came on the air. Talking about the foundation of what you need to know before you start on this endeavor. Like how many steps are in the process? What do I need to be doing? Some of this is going to come first nature to a lot of the sales business owners out there that are watching this. And some of this is going to be things that we forgot along the way.
That's a good point. That's a really fair point. I guess once you get in anything and do anything for a long period of time, you kind of evolve and develop and forget some of the grassroots stuff. Right. I mean, in anything, music or our career, and you have to go back to a circle to it and say like, oh, there's a reason I was doing that. There's a reason it was working out that way. And I kind of forgot that. So it's always good to double back, take a look at the origin of it and kind of just touch base on it. And
I found that too. And I know you found that talking with these folks is that sometimes the little things are what are causing the hiccups in actually converting and writing business on and making clients out of these federal employees, right? And so what we're going to be talking about today is just part one. And there'll be a part series that'll be released as we go along. But part one of this series is all about the pre-appointment prep of your first appointment. So what do you understanding, Rick, how did this lead come to me? How did I get this lead? Why are they booking an appointment with me? Why is it different than maybe just some other lead generation? And then also, how do I get prepped up for success on that first call?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a big part of it. I hear a lot too, people asking to see like the original content of it. And that's, I think, in response to not knowing, a lot of people that are in the program or working in it, you just have a lead or an appointment that's scheduled for you on your calendar. And it's like, all right, well, awesome. I have somebody to talk to, but what am I talking to them about more so than just federal benefits, like where they're coming from, how to get it here. So I think this is definitely a big need for the field, for people in the program and getting adjusted to it. So it's definitely a big hole we're filling.
Right. So let's talk about what we all need to know about these appointments. Why are they booking this appointment? Mm-hmm. What everybody needs to know when they're coming into this is that this person, this federal employee, is booking an appointment with you because you are the local federal retirement consultant. This federal employee is a subscriber in some way, shape, or form to FEBA, the Federation of Federal Employee Benefit Advocates. And Will, can you bring this up on the screen? I want to bring up the FEBA website so everybody can see this. FEBA is the actual brand that we're promoting, right? This is the brand that we promote to federal employees. This is what they subscribe to. There's shows, there's books, as you can see on the website right there. There's all kinds of articles, and there's benefit analyses they can do if they want.
They do training events all over the country.
Training
for
events,
years.
Off-site, on-site. So FEBA is a brand that this federal employee is subscribing to. Mm-hmm. And you are the local FRC, Federal Retirement Consultant. And you'll see right here, it's listed right on the website, FEBA's website, what the FRC is. And there's a real good consumer explanation as to what the FRC means to a federal employee. And so if I can, I want to even bring up I want to bring up the FRC website here. Bear with me just a second here. This is the actual FRC website too. And there's consumer language on that as well, right? But you're the local FRC. Will, you can bring that down now. So you've got the actual idea of why you are the local person. So this person, this federal employee in the area, is being told that, hey, you know, as a subscriber to FIBA, the educational brand, you might have questions that are lingering, right? You've subscribed to our content for so long and gotten information about what, you know, some ancillary things about your benefits, maybe a general understanding, but maybe you have more questions.
Yeah. Maybe you had a bunch of questions that never really got answered.
Yeah.
They just keep developing and turning into worse problems.
Right.
You're getting closer to retirement. It's like, hey, look, you need to have some things answered out. Who are you going to turn to?
Right.
You know?
And the thing that FIBA promotes are the FRCs. And did you know, Mr. or Mrs. Federal Employee, that there is a local federal retirement consultant in your area that can help you with these problems, these questions? If you'd like to schedule an appointment with them, click this link and it'll bring you right to that person's calendar and you can schedule a time that works for you.
And that's the most simple way you can put it. I mean, obviously the content that's going to the client, the email they're getting is a well-written email, kind of leading down the funnel, getting them to that point of answering like, hey, look, this stuff's tricky. You've been working for a long time and really haven't gotten a lot of help. I understand all that. And it's really well put together email. I mean, it's working very well. It's converting a lot of people to that secondary page to put in their information. And that, you know, obviously nobody wants to fill out a ton of personal information on themselves to a company they don't trust or know, which really shows the roots of the FIBA team as well as the FRC designation. So once they fill that information out, then they get scheduled on the appointment. So these people are already kind of a step down the line where they normally be. They've already gotten a lot of content and made a good connection to the local FRC or advisor in the area.
Right.
So what's really cool is from that point, now the advisor gets that appointment. Now they're scheduled. Now it's time to reach out to them and connect. The way I typically advise people to do it, maybe I'm just a little bit more of a personal person. I'm not a big a fan of sending an email in the system. You can do it. It does work, but
in the You Can Book Me system?
In the You Can Book Me system, or even outside of the system, because you're sending an email back to the person who's already responded to an email. And that's nice to know you have the proper email that works, but there's still no human connection yet. So I feel like having somebody reach out, at least from the office, to touch base and confirm the appointment helps put that to, okay, this is who the FRC is.
What do you mean?
Like, so they're getting the email from FRC.
Yeah.
They're putting their information in. They're scheduling an appointment on your calendar.
Okay.
And then the advisor is going to send them back an email confirming the appointment. I think having a personal touch on it to confirm that appointment really makes it more human before the first appointment even happens. I'm just saying the confirmation call.
Them call.
I think confirmation calls help a lot. I've done a lot of confirmation calls through the years for different like workshops and stuff like that. And putting a voice into them, even if it's just for confirmation, you know, I can't tell you how many advisors, like people have gone up to him and been like, hey, where's Rick at? Is he going to be here today? Is he helping out? And they're like, well, actually, it's an assistant, So I think it helps put a personal touch to the office and really kind of ties it in.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Let's bring up, Will, bring up on the screen. I want to show the email that Rick is talking about. This is the email that goes out to federal employees telling them to book their virtual appointment, right? And so this is that first call. This is that first appointment. And literally, here's the link right here. They're going to click this link, and it's going to bring them right to the calendar page of the advisor. So they can select any one of these times. Okay, let's say I want to do Friday the 11th at 11 a.m. I'm going to click that button, and it's going to bring me to this form. And this is what the federal employee is filling out. Okay, so the first step of any of this pre-appointment prep is to get familiar with the information, right? So one, understand how you're getting this opportunity. This is a federal employee that subscribes to FIBA's material some way, somehow, and then they've gotten this email. Let me go back to that. They're getting this email right here, and then they're clicking the link and scheduling an appointment, which is asking them to put all this other information in. And you'll see it asks them the year of birth. It asks them, how many years as a federal employee have you worked? Or what year do you plan to retire? Your TSP balance roughly, your retirement accounts if you've got outside assets and the approximate value of that, and then your additional questions and such. And so that's going to generate something that looks just like this. You're going to get a little email notification that looks just like this, with all that great information right on there. Okay, Anne-Marie, Of course, they give me the last name of somebody like that. But there's someone in North Carolina right here who's got 0 to 5 years federal employee experience. They're looking to retire in 2023 or later. They've got 50 to 150,000 in their TSP balance. All right, fair enough. But they've got another 250,000 plus in additional outside assets. And so what you're looking to do once you have this particular piece of information is start to do what I like to call a needs assessment. This is your first appointment, right? This is your first appointment prep. Doesn't mean
prep. You're not at the appointment. You're not just prepping for the appointment, getting a game plan together, kind of putting ideas together.
And so what I'm saying from like obviously salespeople understand that they're going to put a needs assessment together or find some sort of pain point with the prospect once they start to get to know them. But I've always been a big advocate of the more I can know before I even go in, whether I tell them I know that or not, it'll help guide the conversation to me proving either establishing credibility faster, building rapport faster, or just it really all comes to credibility, but even just moving the conversation along quicker.
You're prepared for the appointment. You're ready for it. You're not walking in blind.
Exactly
you're going to get less kind of off the cuff questions. Absolutely.
Exactly right. And you're getting all this great information. Make sure you completely understand it prior to going in. You don't want to be just familiarizing yourself with that information as you're on the call with the person, right? So getting a needs assessment done.
Yep.
And then once you've done that, then I'd suggest
reach out to them.
Reach out to them and confirm the appointment. So once you've done that, this could be 5 minutes after you get the information. You can start to review it and do a confirmation call. And to be honest, if you might not even do a confirmation call if somebody's booking an appointment with you like tomorrow. You might not.
Yeah. If
they just booked an appointment today for an appointment tomorrow, you might not do that. But
that would work perfectly fine in email because you're so close to it. And again, absolutely game plan, get the idea together. It's just kind of the point, right? I mean, if they're at a decent distance, and again, email is not going to hurt anybody, but as you can see, it's an excellent form. It's well put together, but it's all kind of done by a systematic thing. And even if you're well game plan, you're still going to be bringing them to another computer device. There's still not a lot of soul in it. And right now, I think that's something desperately missing from our sales processes right now. So just putting an extra voice on something, to me, seems to be working well. Again, I probably am not told the ones that are doing it by email, and there's probably going to be a bunch of people that are going to call you tomorrow and be like, Rick doesn't know what he's talking about. Emails work just fine. But still, and I think that's a large point. I think, especially with these appointments when we're walking into now, being truly prepared for them and both sides of it too, like the information as well as like being ready for the Zoom. Like, and we've talked a lot about this and getting on and stuff like that. But if you're fumbling around trying to get them connected or don't know what's going on, like that will kill you.
Make sure you have, if you are doing a Zoom, right? So this goes back to, having a game plan, which is the third step really. So first step is review the lead when it comes in. Second step is do a needs assessment. Get a good picture. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't even have to be right, but get a good idea of where you think the pain might be. And sometimes they're putting it right there. I have questions about my TSP allocation. Okay, fair. You know exactly what it is. And now that voicemail you leave them to confirm the appointment can be directed towards that. Hey, great question about your TSP. I've been speaking a lot with federal employees lately about their TSPs. Can't wait to hop on the horn with you tomorrow at 2 p.m. and just talk through this all with you. I'm going to send you some good information while we're on the call. Talk to you then, or let me know if you need to reschedule.
And that's a huge part, man. You told me that a long time ago, and that's going back to the roots, like we were talking about, going back to the beginning of like leaving a good quality voicemail that's going to get somebody to call you back. If you just leave a voicemail that says, hey, this is Rick, you scheduled an appointment on my calendar for 2:00 tomorrow, I just wanted to confirm the appointment, you're not going to get any touch from it. But exactly that. You say, hey, look, this is Rick. Mary, I saw that you're really interested in learning more about your TSP contributions. We spend a lot of time on that. It's something I hear all the time. Would love to sit down with you. I'm looking forward to our appointment. I think this is going to be really big for you.
Right.
That's going to get somebody at least perk the ears up, you know?
The thing is like this, is that if you are somebody that does appointment confirmations, not only for virtual appointments, but even in-person appointments, it's a different skill set to be a salesperson, a phone salesperson, and a in-person salesperson.
Yeah, absolutely.
And whether you're training an internal staffer, like a front desk associate or somebody else to do that skill, they need to have some pizzazz. They need to be ready to carry the conversation. Even in a voicemail, they need to have some energy to stand out a little different for them to want to call back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. It's hard. You have to translate what your body's doing through a medium where you can't see somebody.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Smile through the phone is the old adage.
Yeah.
right? So again, recapping one more time. First step, familiarize yourself with the lead. Second step, go ahead and create a needs assessment. Get familiar with the information enough so that you've identified where you think the conversation is going to go.
Yep.
Very simple to do. Rick, you've been talking through people to do that. So if they have questions, if you have questions out there about how to do that, once you got your lead in, Rick's the guy to talk to. Then leading up to the appointment, it's about game planning. And game planning meaning, like you're saying, if it's going to be a Zoom, make sure you know how to get onto that Zoom. Make sure you've sent the link out the right way. Make sure you've communicated to them that it's a Zoom. And if they've never done anything to let you know so you can pivot, whatever. If you're fumbling around, it is the worst mistake.
It's tough, man. I mean, technology in itself is just tough. To deal with technology, to deal with a client, that doesn't know how computers work well. I mean, when something's not working, man, it's infuriating. And so if you're going into an appointment and they're already upset because the computer's not working right, it's just a bad mood.
Just tired. After a while, you just sit there, you're tired. You don't want anything to do with this whole thing. And now you've got an hour-long conversation with a guy and it's garbled and, I've seen some disastrous Zooms to this point. If you're not doing a Zoom and you're going to do a phone call, make sure you've emailed everything over that you want to get and talk about, right? Have a game plan. What's your goal before the end of this conversation? Do I want to book my second appointment where I'm going to give them a benefit analysis? Do I want to, maybe not, maybe I'm not doing anything. Maybe I'm going to gather all the information while I'm on this call so that I have the benefit analysis to go over with them in the second call. How am I going to do that? Am I going to ask for the information over the phone and get in appointment 1? Or am I going to ask for the information in appointment 2? And I'm really just going to talk conceptually. I can tell you this, the same thing's going to happen in appointment 1, no matter what. You first have to establish credibility.
Absolutely.
You have to educate first, answer their questions, put them before you. That's what you've done your entire career to this point. You've done seminars. If you've been out there, you've done seminars. And in these seminars, you've essentially, you've stood up there without any expectation of them booking an appointment with you. You're not asking them to book an appointment before you show them the education. Yeah. You are educating for an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, standing up there on a topic, Social Security, retirement planning, whatever it might be. You're educating on that. And then you are asking if they want to book an appointment, if they have further questions, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think a big part, we kind of talked about this before hopping on the air earlier today. A large part too, and there's a few advisors I can think of that I feel like I've gotten a good step in there, is when you're doing, not to take a step back in the conversation, but doing the appointment process before you contact them, that helps a lot with that, is to direct them to somewhere where they can see like a website or something to that extent, where they can kind of see who you are, what your company is about, that you work with federal employees. And again, I mean, we're trying to fill that void of not being able to get in front of these people for an hour and not be able to bring them into your office, where both forms of that is going to form a huge amount of credibility.
And that's why a lot of folks will look at that email as a confirmation, is because they can send like an about me, a bio or something. Looking forward to chatting with you. One of the things I do has been helping federal employees with these TSP questions that you had. See you at 2:00 tomorrow. In the meantime, here's a little about me and what I've done.
Yep.
Just helping get them comfortable.
You're a real advisor. You're somebody who does this for a living and you do it well. You're not some fly-by-night guy that's going to be on 60 Minutes that's taking money on the laptop that they find after coronavirus,
yes,
you know?
Yes.
So, but absolutely, once you get in that first appointment, I think you're 100% right. It's having the end goal in mind. And I think in this world where we're at, this very inhuman world, your first appointment should strictly be scheduling the second appointment, as simple as that, and covering, like
spoiler
you said,
alert,
giving content.
That's part 2, really, is the appointment. Your first appointment is all about booking your second appointment. And you do that by establishing credibility, educating first, and then basically, here's the tricky part. Some will go and start to ask for more information to get a report started for them for appointment 2, and that's fine, as long as you've done a darn good job of it, educating along the way. Yeah. And some of the best advisors I've seen in their first appointment, we'll go over this in our next episode, of they educate and grab a little at each
little nugget,
each section.
Yep.
Right. I'm educating about TSP and I'm asking a little bit about them. It does a great job. The best advisors do this, and they do it because they are educating and asking and how they educate, how they choose to educate is by relating the concept to their particular specific personal situation, right? So when I ask you about your TSP, it's like, okay, you got, how much do you understand the L fund? Well, I don't understand it at all.
I don't understand.
Okay. Do you have any of the L fund? No, I don't. What are you allocated to right now? I'm in the G fund. Okay, fantastic. Well, the L fund, I'm educated. See what I'm saying? I go back to the L fund there and I start talking about the L fund, but now I know you're allocated to the G fund. And you're entirely allocated to that. I could go in there and say, okay, is it only the G fund? Yeah, only the G fund. Okay, fantastic, right? Like, so that's how you're asking those questions to get them to this point. You're gathering little nuggets of information. I mean, even think about that same scenario. Man, we're going to get into a first appointment here.
Hey, do we want to do that? We're going to get in the first appointment?
No, we should cut here. But basically, like, you could even, on a subject as simple as TSP, get all the little nuggets you needed to do and do a razzle-dazzle job of educating them on what TSP funds mean and how the allocations would be best suited for their specific situation. That's what the best advisors do. But the whole thing they're trying to do is educate. And they've just gotten so good at educating that they can make it relatable to that person's specific situation so that they're also getting something in return, the advisor, that being something in return from the client or the prospect as far as fact finding.
Absolutely.
Right? And so by the end of it, they don't need to ask for report or for reports or paychecks or pay stubs or Social Security or anything like that. They can start to put the baseline report together so that when they come into the second appointment, they can start to show a sample report that's particular to their specific situation, but not so specific that they've scared the client off already for appointment 2. And in appointment 2, they can start to really get down to the nitty gritty.
Right. But that all comes from being prepared,
prep,
setting yourself right, and knowing where you're going to go in that first appointment to walk through those points where you're teaching, you're picking up those nuggets of information. You're also laying seeds down for the next 2 appointments.
So there's 3 steps. And I'm going to throw a 4th in.
Okay. 3.5.
First step is not understanding the lead information or going over the lead information. I'm going to swap that. Your first step is to make sure you understand federal benefits.
Absolutely.
Make sure you really understand what you're talking about. You don't need to be a master, but you need to understand what the TSP is and why you're selling the TSP. You need to understand what FEGLI is and why you'd be selling FEGLI replacement. You need to understand how their pension works and what the best options are and how to do that. What are the consequences of taking this option or that option? And if you know those basics, then fine, move on to step 2. Step 2 is reviewing the lead information, making sure you got the information you needed. Step 3 is doing a needs assessment, taking a look and thinking critically over the information you have on hand. And then step 4, putting a game plan together for appointment 1. Don't think all the way through appointment 2 and appointment 3 if you need it. Appointment 1 only.
How am I going to get a second appointment?
How am I going to get them interested in doing a benefit analysis with me? And giving me their stuff if needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll tell you this, the best advisors out there just get the information over the phone from the person. They don't ask them, at least in this virtual world, they're not asking them to bring information to the table.
Don't say that because I need the documents to run the reports.
I know you need the documents. They just don't get it in the first appointment. That's all I'm saying, right? Like they're grabbing information to put together a baseline report for somebody and do some good educating along the way. And then they're coming back to do some more specifics. Add the Social Security in later. That's always the question. Well, how do I get the Social Security information? Great. Do that when you've really established and they're ready to move forward with you. Right? Like
we'll dive into all that and how it all works and like the depths you should be going in the first appointment. It's a big part of it, man, especially right now.
Right.
First appointment serious.
So that's appointment 1, everybody, or that's appointment prep. That's step 1 of the sales process here. Rick, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for doing this.
Good to be back.
Thanks for being back. Always a joy. We're going to have you back on the air tomorrow here to record the next section of this part dose of the sales process. More to come right here on Coffee for Closers.
Back to back.
We'll see you then.